illuminate the dark. I'll spread your wings, pierce through the night. Let your wisdom sing, illuminate the dark, reveal what's concealed, unveil the mysteries, let the truth be revealed. Well, welcome everybody. Jim Swanson here. I'm on Vancouver Island, and I'm talking to a guy who knows Vancouver Island very, very well, Cody Andreychuk, the new head coach of your Nanaimo NightOwls. And we thought we would start to introduce the season a bit by doing a series of video blogs. Cody's a busy guy these days. We don't want to do too much with his time and what he's going on, what's got all going on with him right now. We'll explain all that for those who don't know. But Cody, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, you know, you and I've talked a lot since October and prior to that. But welcome to the ball club. We're excited to have you as head coach.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm super excited and fortunate to be able to come back home and get to lead a program that, you know, I think is going to do a lot of good things here in the future. And I'm excited again to be back in the West Coast League.
I have lots of questions for you. You know, one of the first things you asked me when we started talking about you taking over as head coach was, you know, what would we do for other coaches? I said, well, I think I have a pitching coach already for you. Talk about Gorm and getting to know him.
Yeah, I know Gorm's been great. You know, he just the conversations we have. He always calls me when he's out for his walks, and you know, we'll talk on the phone for about 40 minutes. And at the end of the conversation, sometimes I'm like, "What did we accomplish there?" I'm not sure, but we had a great talk about baseball, and you know, he's done a really good job from obviously in the years past, and we're excited to have him back with the knowledge and everything he's done in his baseball career.
Yeah, Gorm Heimuller, of course, 50 years coming up in the game as of that'll be next year, and I know Gorm is aware. We're going to do some stuff to honor him for that for sure, and we're very fortunate to have had him as our head coach or our pitching coach for the first 3 years of the franchise, and came through some great avenues for me, and we've become, like you said, those walks and those calls when he's on his walks, those 30-40 minute calls. We've become very good friends, and our players are very lucky to have him as a head coach. You or as a pitching coach, pardon me. You have brought on a assistant coach, and he works with you on a daily basis where you're at right now. Talk to me about Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah, so Coach Hauk, he played for me here. He's was our graduate assistant for 2 years. He did such a good job doing that we promoted him to a full-time assistant coach. We were fortunate to have two full-time assistant coaches here. One is my pitching coach, which is Tyler Russell. He's a recruiting coordinator. And then Coach Hauk is kind of our everyday handyman, Bob the Builder, fix everything. You know, if when I have a problem, he fixes it. You know, he's kind of my right-hand man when it comes to stuff like that. So, you know, I think him having an opportunity to go coach in the summer, and he's never actually left the United States of America. So be given a little bit different perspective on what else is out there in the world, I think. And I'm excited for him to have that opportunity, and he'll be good for me this summer.
MacGyver, I like it. I like having a MacGyver. There, Sean Fitzgerald, who's our assistant coach first 3 years, was just that for us, and looking forward to having Anthony with us. So we skipped right over. You are at. Explain where you're at right now, the level you're at right now, your team that you're at right now, and the tie-ins with the NightOwls, because you and I've been working together on players for a number of years before you took on this role.
Yeah, so right now I'm at the University of Pikeville. It's an NAI program in Eastern Kentucky. I've been down in the States, I guess would be 12 years now. This will be my 11th year coaching. You know, we've sent Riley Paulino, who was an all-star for you guys, played center field. And then Richter Castillo was a left-handed pitcher from our program, as well as Sammy Torres, who caught for you guys for a year. And then we're trying to bring some guys up there this summer as well, and Dawson Schultz, Richter Castillo, and hopefully Shea McTavish, as long as he doesn't throw too many innings for us. So,
Right.
yeah, they'll be all really good pieces for us, and guys that I'm familiar with, and which will, you know, give me a little bit more of a situation if we got to go to a guy in a leverage situation. If I can go to him or go to somebody else, I'll just know them a little bit better, right? So.
Totally makes sense. Riley, honestly, Riley's, you know, in a handful of guys that were just some of the best human beings we've even had in Nanaimo as well. And I know Tina, our GM, Tina Cornett, she has a number of favorites, but Riley's right at the top of the list.
Yeah, Riley's good.
So you've had a lot of chance to connect with Tina, our GM, in the lead up since taking the role on in October and until now. Tell me about your conversations. I don't want to be the boss, kind of listening in on your talks, but I know you guys have had a lot of conversations.
Yeah, she's been great, very accommodating, very organized, just as far as how she's setting up, our travel plans and everything else and how structured it is. And when you're at the NAI level, you're the head coach, you're doing that, you're booking hotels, you're booking buses, you're working on the field, you're doing everything, right? So we don't have a huge support staff like a Division 1 would, but her having that takes a lot off me for the summer. And she's been great. And we're organizing some kid camps and stuff throughout the summer as well. And she's just been very straightforward with everything. And that's kind of how I am, is very straightforward. And I can appreciate that, and I respect that. Right. So it's been really good.
Now the kids camps, you just brushed on that. That's something that the Night Owls have not offered to this point, but you're an Nanaimo guy. You know the system, you know the people, you know the town, you know NMBA, you know what opportunities can be presented for kids and to help them. As a local guy coming back and coaching the local West Coast League team, what does that mean to you, being able to put some camps in place?
I think with how many games we play in the summer, I think one is tough to do kid camps just because of how busy our schedule is. But I think it should be a very important thing that we start, doing and maybe establishing, and just to give back to the local community in a lot of ways. And it's only going to be $20. It's not like we're going to charge an arm and a leg. I want everybody that from all sorts of economic backgrounds to be able to do it and have that opportunity. I think if I was younger going through that system and I got an opportunity to go to a camp with a bunch of guys in college and get to go hang out with them for the day and experience, Sir Oxman Stadium and hang out with all these great, young players. I think it would be an awesome opportunity that I'd remember for a long time. And that's kind of what I want to bring back to the city a little bit, is, getting baseball on that forefront, and establishing that connection with NMBA and with the community, to kind of grow the game even further along.
Family's big for you, and I've had a long connection with your family. Your brother Griffin played for the Victoria team that we also operate, and was a guy who we retired his number. I mean, it's a very special time. He also started the only brawl that we've ever had, by the way, on the field. I know you're shocked by that.
No.
Fire your redheaded second baseman, man. He played really well for us and had a great college career. We all thought he should have been drafted, coming out of Seattle University, but talk about family and what this job. I know the one thing you said to me that I'll probably never forget is that, Jim, I I I only have one summer job that I would even consider taking. That's to be able to go back to Nanaimo, and what this means to you.
Yeah, no, I think it would be the only summer job I take. I've coached in the Cape Cod, and I kind of did that whole thing. And when I was away from my daughter, and my daughter, she's probably one of the most important things in my life. And obviously my family's from there, and it creates an opportunity for me to, one, bring my daughter up there for a month. During the summer, and get to spend time with her grandparents. And then my family and my grandparents are still fortunate to have my grandparents, and they're still there. They're aging, and getting them to come to the ballpark and get to experience that and just see them. And my brother's in Australia right now, but he'll be back in August. So for the next summer, I'll be able to get to spend time with him as well. So, I think a lot of things are important in life. Family's at the top of it. So I think for me, being able to come back and spend that time with them, it's going to be very special, as well as get to come back and coach, a program that is in my hometown, that I take a lot of pride in, and, kind of where my roots came from with baseball. Right. So I think it's very, very cool.
Talk about your roots in baseball and NBA. Coming through the system, played at VIU, and Soroxman. What Soroxman means to you? I mean, we get teams coming in and going, "What a great ballpark this is! Just one of the best ballparks ever." I know. Walt Burroughs called it his favorite ballpark of all time. Compared it to one, maybe other one, it was close, but he just loves Soroxman Stadium, and obviously so do we.
Yeah, no, I mean, I grew up playing, kind of through the NBA system. Gyro Park was a very, famous park for me that, we had a lot of good memories at Gyro Park, and I was fortunate, we played Cal Ripken going through there. And We were one of the teams that got to go represent Canada in Baltimore, Maryland, and played at the World Series, the Cal Ripken World Series, and got to meet Cal Ripken Jr. and Bill Ripken. And it's funny, Brian Dumasil was actually pitching for the Aberdeen Ironbirds at the time. And me and Brian Dumasil really didn't know each other at the time, and then we became really, really close friends as I got older. And it was just one of those things when you're a younger kid and you got to see a guy from Nanaimo pitching for a professional team with the Baltimore Orioles when he was with Aberdeen, and we had no idea he was even there, right? So. And then obviously played for the Nanaimo Pirates and went through there at Sir Roxman Stadium, and then VIU, and I think VIU is kind of my turning point of development with Coach Blundell at the time, and Tyler Moretti, is kind of where I became a little bit better of a player, because I think, for me, and I think that's kind of what allowed me to be a better coach, was how hard I had to work to get to where I needed to go, I guess, if that makes sense, and to be a little bit. I was a little bit behind people when I was playing, and I think the amount of work I had to put in, and the things I had to learn kind of allowed me to coach kids better. And I obviously went down and played at Division II at Tusculum College after that from VIU, and ended up staying down here and coached this whole time. But I think the most special memory for me was definitely that Cal Ripken World Series team when we went to Aberdeen, Maryland, and got to represent Canada, and we got to play Dominican Republic, South Korea, Australia, all those teams, and that was a really cool experience. But that happened because of NNBA, so very, very cool.
The changes at Sir Roxman Park. I mean, no more chain link fence. The paint chips don't have lead in them anymore. Just the way it's been cleaned up and changed, and lights and fencing system and all that. Talk about what you saw when you first came back and saw.
I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I kind of miss those old wood chips. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of sentimental that way. But when you had that big wood wall down in right field, you always wanted to try to hit one over, right? So, I think what you guys have done and what the city's done and everyone that involved has done is really, really something special for the community, for the baseball community. I couldn't believe how many upgrades got done, but yet the park still has the historic feel, which is, I think, the coolest part about it all. Obviously we've wanted lights there for the longest time, and there's finally lights there. So I think it's really, really special what you guys have done and everyone involved has done. And it just creates a little bit better atmosphere for fans with some of those upgrades, as well as players, having a little bit nicer facilities and safer facilities with the fence. Right. So it's been really, 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 really cool to see.
And the bar in center field. Got to have a bar in center field. That's Nanaimo if there ever was one.
Yeah.
So how many times do you ever get asked how to spell or how to say the word Nanaimo?
All the time. All the time. They have no one has any clue. I get a lot of
help me out. Help me out. How do you answer that question? Because I've tried to answer it 3 or 4 different. Have you figured out, Shrek, the best way to describe it?
I just say this is how you say it, like Nanaimo. There you go. Like a lot of people say it differently, so it's kind of like my last name too. No one ever says my last name right. So
got it. As long as they're saying it some way, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Hey, what's funny is we're talking here. Guess who tried to call me just now? He's probably on a walk.
Gorm.
Gorm's on a walk. That's great.
Yeah,
we'll get him on one of these for sure and talk
That'd
about
be good.
Some things. Talk about your philosophies, and then even how they've meshed with. Obviously you'll lead Anthony Houck, the assistant coach, and work side by side with Gorm, and how important the pitching position is, and how segregated it can be when it comes to putting together a ball club. Talk about your philosophies and how they'll apply to the Night Owls this summer in the West Coast League.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you have to be able to pitch the ball, and you have to be able to not walk people. I think as long as we're filling the zone up, and I can live with a single, I can live with a double, but if we're walking back-to-back guys, that's where you're going to get into trouble to have that really big inning. So I think just filling the zone up and commanding your pitches, I think that's definitely number one at the top of my list of being successful. I think number two, we're going to have to be able to run at a very elite level. We're going to have to be able to take that extra bag. We're going to have to earn the double out of the box. I think those are the key components with how I coach. We're going to have to be able to hit and run and hit. We're going to have a lot of high contact. And in order to be very successful, which leads to the long ball down the road. But I think the way I coach at the level I'm at is, and I'll be honest, we're 7-3 right now. We have our first top 10 win in school history, and we're hitting 239. Okay, so the way we're manufacturing runs is we're getting in deep into counts. We're taking the extra bag when we need to, and our ERA is a 5.4. That's how you win. You don't necessarily have to put up crazy numbers. Sometimes it may not be the most exciting baseball in the world, but it's going to get the job done, and it's going to be, and the hitting is going to come. We've yet to be on our field down here currently, and we're in the South, and people are probably thinking back home like that doesn't seem right. Well, we've had crazy weather down here. That's been in 11 years I've never seen weather like this. So we haven't been very fortunate with good weather, and that's kind of limited our opportunity to get reps. So I know the hitting is going to come around, but you got to be able to manufacture runs when you're not being productive. And I think we as a coaching staff will do a very good job of doing that.
Listen, I appreciate this all. What I think we've done here is set up a fun little series. We can do a handful of these that we'll give ourselves time. Today we're recording this for people who are curious. We're recording this on Family Day. It's morning. It's a Monday here on the island. You're getting ready for another week. We're going to try and do this so we don't totally upend your what you're doing at Pikeville. It's what you're doing. There's great work, and the excitement of the recruiting that has been done so far this year. We'll talk about players at another point. I'd like to bring on a guest or two that we can have on here. I think Gorham's a good idea. I'd like to talk to Colin Burkus, who's the head coach of the Nanaimo Clippers, and talk about what it's like for the two of you to coach in Nanaimo, and what it's like with such a great sports market, like just an amazing sports market where people really care about their sports and their local sports and have an opinion. And it can be a little fishbowl-ish, but it's a good thing. It's because people care, right? So we'll do those things, and we'll get into some fun topics coming into the season. The last question I did want to ask you about is, you played in the West Coast League. You've got a couple interesting stories. I mean, the very first game of the Victoria Harbor Cats, you were in that game in Victoria. Bus breaks down on the way. You're facing a pretty good pitcher, I think, that night, and in a guy. Tell me about your memories of that. Would have been your debut in the West Coast League too, wasn't it? That was your first
Yeah,
game.
yeah, it was. Well, we're
2013,
yeah,
right?
it's hard to believe it was that long ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're coming down from Kelowna. I was playing for the Kelowna Falcons, and it was your guys' first game and home opener, and we're driving. Bus breaks down, and then we get a new bus, and we take out a sign on the way in downtown Victoria by the park. We get in there, and we're late. I don't even think we got the hit. There's probably 3,500 fans there, just yelling and screaming, ready, waiting for us to get there, and then we got to go face a guy named Nick Pavetta, who's obviously in the big leagues now and doing really well, and a local product. And we get in there, and I don't believe I started that game. I think I came in for left field later in the game, and he goes heater, late as can be on it, slider, swung at it, heater up and away. I'm out. 3 pitches, getting booed, all that stuff. So Victoria is a very hostile environment when there's a local, kind of a local guy from the island playing for a team up in Kelowna. So it's a lot. I didn't really like playing there too much, but hopefully I enjoy playing there in the future. So we'll just have to see.
It's a big rivalry. There's 9 games between the two teams, and
I look forward to it.
honestly, the last 2 years, I think that result has been the tipping point between Victoria barely making the playoffs and Nanaimo barely missing the playoffs. Has been those results. So, going to be a lot of fun to see you and Todd Haney go head to head, the head coach of the Victoria Harbor Cats, and to see the recruiting proceeds and how they play out too. So, hey, Cody, I appreciate it very much. I'm going to let you get back to things with the Orange guys before we get to the Navy and Yellow here later in the summer, and we'll set up another date here. We'll get something going, like I said, with Gorham. I think we'll get something going with Tina as well. I'd like to have her on here and talk about season plans, and I'd like to talk to Colin from the Clippers and just how we're communicating and integrating into the community in Nanaimo and having a lot of fun doing it. What a great town! So thanks very much for this today, buddy. I appreciate
Thank you, Jim.
And good luck this week. Who do you got this week? Who do you guys play this week?
We're playing Bryan. It'll be a big series for us. So we're playing Bryan on the road again. We've yet to play at home. So we'll see how that goes. They're usually a regional team, and we've got a big task ahead of us this weekend.
And Riley Paulino getting the start in game one.
It'll be game one, and then Shea McTavish will be the 7th inning, and Cam Rodeer in the 9th. So we're looking forward to watching them play, and hopefully we can get the bats going this week. So.
And how are you using Richter these days, Richter Castillo?
Richter is in the back end of the bullpen still. Yeah,
got it.
On the back end.
Thank you very much, Cody. Have
Thanks,
a great day, and appreciate this a lot. We'll be talking again soon.
You bet. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye now.
Illuminate the dark, I'll spread your wings, pierce through the night, let your wisdom sing. Illuminate the dark, reveal what's concealed, unveil the mysteries, let the truth be revealed.